Jacoby, what exactly is it that we Mr. Rose? The people want Jay Billis, and the people will get Jay Billis. He joins us to break down the bracket shortly, but have some big news in the NFL. Future Hall of Famer Drew Brees has now officially retired. Jalen, what do you think this is for him and Nates?
This is classic, going out on top. And I don't mean because they won the Super Bowl this past season. I mean because at his age, deep injuries, in particular this season, I saw a little arm strength declining from Drew Brees, and it seemed like he and Michael Thomas were on the same page all this year. So instead of getting a lot of tapes here from Drew Brees, where he comes next season and he gets hit or struggles and he has to get benched, I think retire at this point in time was the right decision for a future Hall of Famer who's had an amazing career.
Absolutely, and you and I are old and washed up, so you remember the days. But if you're like 25, all you see is success in New Orleans, and a lot of that is because of this Drew Brees. But Jalen, while he had a good run, 15 seasons with the Saints, they really won the Super Bowl only one time. And I think the legacy will be the man that brought a Super Bowl to New Orleans, or the legacy will be how close it came playoff success to have it dragged away from them in the final seconds of game after game, year after year.
He'll definitely be remembered for bringing a Super Bowl to New Orleans. As mentioned, the Saints did exist. So therefore, their fan base in that city does appreciate his legendary greatness on and off the field. These last couple of years, it's been heartbreak, hotel. Man, it has some heartbreaking losses last couple of seasons, Kobe, to end season.
Absolutely. And while Drew Brees will not be playing for the Saints, Aaron Jones will be playing for the Packers. He signed a 4-year, $48 million deal to stick behind Aaron Rodgers in the backfield in Wisconsin. What do you think that means for the Packers?
That's our man. That's our man. And I'm not surprised that they understood his value, decided to keep him. It's not Ezekiel Elliott level money, but I'd say what? He's going to be just as productive next season. And so in theory, the Packers got a discount in a lot of ways based on how the season ended, losing way they did, and him struggling in the final game.
So, Jalen, I'm going to draw a comparison here. We just celebrated Drew Brees' 15 seasons with the Saints, one Super Bowl championship, and you look at Aaron Rodgers, that man right there, they only won the Super Bowl once with him under center. Do you think that re-signing Jones and some other tweaks in the roster, that there's another Super Bowl to be celebrated in Wisconsin with Rodgers?
I don't think his window is closed. Here's why. I think back is 4th down, 8 to go. You Aaron Rodgers under center, make a field goal, and you hope the defense is going to get a stop. So since the defense did not get that stop, if you get into that situation again, you put the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands. And so I don't believe that their window's closed. Aaron Rodgers was last year MVP. Team has been consistently winning under Matt Fleur these last couple of years. I think Aaron Jones continues the legacy of Aaron Rodgers playing on a continuing-level team.
Absolutely. Jalen, what do we like to watch the Pelicans do?
The Pelicans fly! The Pelicans fly!
The Pelicans were flying all over the Clippers. They dominated for the Pelicans, led by that guy Zion, who's really opened his game of late. Do you think that this young team is coming together to make a good run into the playoffs?
You know what I think, Kobe? They may be young, but they're ready. I like what Stan Gundy has done with the squad. Ryan, of course, is going to celebrate it for the he finishes in the way he used to attack the basket. But also his playmaking and his ball handling is something that unlocks the offensive attack. And I take a lot of pressure, in particular, Lonzo Ball. Yep. I think that allowed him to now settle into who he can be as an NBA player. And you and I both have a statistic about Lonzo Ball's three-point make per game as it relates to the rest of the toppers in the game.
Oh, yeah. When you look at him and how he's developed that point shot over the years that he's been in the league, you can see the dramatic increase. And he had a bad bubble. Everyone came into this year on Lonzo, but there are some players in the NBA that Lonzo has scored more three-point baskets than that would blow your mind. Players like Trae Young, Luka Doncic, and many other prime players. Lonzo is now shooting better from three than. It's a big win for them. However, before we move on, I just say this. Pelicans, y'all play some defense. I love that Jason Hayes is dunking, and Lonzo's hitting threes. Zion's got the ball. Y'all need to play some defense for real. Someone who no one played defense on in the NBA, we will not see on the court for quite some time. Joel Embiid has a bone bruise. He'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks. He'll be out for those 2 weeks. But he was the front runner for MVP. But with him being out, how do you think this changed the MVP race?
I know everybody likes to talk about the MVP race way earlier in the season. But now as we're post All-Star break, this is where the players actually start jockeying for position. And there's no clear-cut favorite to me right now. I believe it's going to be decided during the second half of the year. There are going to be prominent players like LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo that are terrific. James Harden, what he's done with the Nets. The Joker in Denver. There are a lot of players, Jacoby, that have been putting in work this year, but it's going to be decided based on how they perform the second half of the season.
I'm glad you mentioned James Harden and the Nets because they continue on their even after the All-Star break. And James Harden, every time he laces sneakers, it seems like he gets triple-double. He now has 9 triple-doubles since joining Nets, and they're doing this all without KD. Jalen, 12 wins in the last 13 games. And Joel Embiid out. What does this mean for the East Conference at the top?
I just believe that this is why you put 3 outstanding offensive weapons together. They're able to sustain themselves when one plays out. So if we're going to miss Durant, but we still have James Harden, Kyrie Irving, those guys are more than willing to fill it offensively, those shots, get the points, and put work. And so the Nets, if KD's able to return, will still be my favorite in the East. But I'll tell you what I've been telling you the last month or so. If KD went into All-Star break and he was not playing, and we came out of All-Star break and he's still not playing, to me, that's worrisome for their long-term prognosis. So hopefully he's able to get healthy and some games in before the season continues to get later and deal with the injury that he's been with, especially coming off injury like an Achilles that he's overcoming from last season.
Absolutely. I wanted to be KD and D after the All-Star break, but now I just want to see the healthy as soon as possible. It is now time for very important news that matter. Jalen, I love the outer stuff. I think there's aliens here on Earth, the UFOs. I believe in that. You really don't listen to me when I talk about it. This is extremely important. What scientists want to do is take an egg and a sperm from each of 6.7 million different species here on Earth and stash them on them for a second, just in case we need them. Just in case we need them, they'll be on the moon. If a meteor hit Earth and everything was bad here, we got the future of every single species on Earth stashed on the moon, just in case we did. To me, this is a brilliant. What do you think?
Did you say stash sperm on the moon? Is that what you said?
Perfect sense. Stash sperm on the moon, just in case you need it later. Never know.
I'm not rolling. I just kind of fit in my body if that's cool.
I'm just gonna. You know, Jay Billis joins us next, and Jalen Rose. I can't wait to have Jay Billis come on. Brackets are out.
Going to the national.
Because it is the Challenge Marathon. The brackets have been released. Of course, we have upgraded from Jalen Rose to Jay Billis for this very special segment. I've always wanted to change co-host, and now my dreams have come true. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, Jalen and Jawan have some interest in the Michigan program. They are number 1 seed in the East. How do you feel about their chances to make the Final Four in the Eastern part of the bracket?
Not as good as it about a week ago, simply because Isaiah Vers is still a question mark with that stress restriction in his foot. If he comes back, then Michigan is an elite offensive team and defensive team, win the whole thing. But the second round matchup potentially against SU, they have to get past Bonaventure first. But that's a scary one. They've got Alabama in their bracket on the bottom up and Florida State in their A. Livers is healthy, then Michigan's in the Final Four.
Well, they're number 1 seed. We know the number 1 seeds. What team that is not a number 1 seed you think is poised for a deep run in this tournament?
I would say not a number 1 seed. I would say Oklahoma State because of Cade Cunningham. Oklahoma State's underseeded, I think, at a 4. Thought they should have been higher, the wins they have. But Cade Cunningham is going to be the first pick in the draft. Oklahoma State was not expected to even play in the tournament because of a ridiculous NCAA sanction, but the appeals hasn't gotten to the case so they can play. And I think Cade Cunningham and the rest of that crew can make a deep run in the tournament. They're legit.
Well, you sort of hinted at Michigan because Livers is out, but what team do you think should be upset alert early on in their first couple rounds?
Yeah, I think there are two, Jacoby. I would say Virginia because of obviously the COVID issues got, but they're also playing Ohio, and Ohio got a player named Jason Preston who's really good. And then I would say Creighton. I would go out if I were Creighton because playing UC Santa Barbara, and UC Santa Barbara's got some really good guards. Creighton got blitzed in the last game of the Big East tournament. I think they're really good. They should win. Virginia should win too. But if you're looking for upset, I would be concerned if I were those two teams.
If you were security at Madison Square Garden, you absolutely have to let Patrick Ewing whatever he wants. That is one of the most insane stories I've heard come the weekend. So next question for you is, what's a team that no one's talking about that has what it takes to make a deep run, Final Four, 2, maybe even win it all?
If you're talking about a sleeper, there is no sleeper in this tournament that is going to win it. Like people talking about 5 seed or below is going to win the whole thing. Isn't one. The top seeds are going to rip through this thing. It doesn't mean not going to be chaos in the first weekend, but if you look at the bracket of the double-digit seeds, the double-digit seeds are major conference teams. You know, like you've got Rutgers as a 10, Syracuse as an 11, Michigan State as an 11, UCLA as an 11. It's not the traditional deal where we got the little guy as the double-digit seeds upsetting the big. We're going to have the big guy as Cinderella this year, and it's a little bit of an odd film.
That's a good point. You mentioned Cunningham, one of the most exciting players to watch that we'll actually see with Jerry on his chest. What are some other players that you see getting drafted as a high round pick that we should keep an eye on if we have NBA interests?
Well, first-round pick, I think you're going to see Jim Preston of Ohio. He's kind of the low ball of this. I mean, he's not as good as talented as LaMelo, but he's really good. He's a triple-double type player, and I think you're going to be very impressed when you see him play if you haven't already. And the Mavericks haven't seen him play. He's really good, and he's going to make a big difference for Ohio with a chance to advance in this term, maybe even get to a 16 given the draw that they haven't. You know, we mentioned Cade Cunningham. Luka Garza is a great player. He's not going to be a first-draft pick. He's one of those Tyler Hands type players that's going to be fun watching the tournament because of what he had put into this thing. And Ayo Dosunmu of Illinois is big time. He just knows, so he's got that Batman mask.
Batman, yeah.
You know, Illinois' got Batman and Kofi Cobra, Incredible Hulk. They've got 2 superheroes, man. That ain't fair. That ain't fair.
It's like the Avengers. Obviously, this year has been different than the other year before, so the tournament is no different. It's going to be played in Indiana exclusively. How do you think that'll change things as it plays out?
I don't know. It's one location for all CA teams, so it's obviously an odd situation. I'll be interested to see after the tournament's over what players say about how isolation affected them, because they are really being held in a bubble and completely isolated, including not out of their hotel. They cannot leave their hotels unless they're on the way to the arena to generate revenue. It's an odd feeling. During the regular season, players were in isolation. It was a little bit different to go on road trips. This one, and they're going to be like the family dog. They're going to be happy. All they're thinking about is, do I get to eat, play, and when can I get in the car?
I'm still that joke and not credit. Thank you very much. So, obviously, I'm going to ask you the questions. Who do you have in your Final Four and who have winning it all?
I have got Alabama as a 2 seed, Gonzaga, Baylor, and Illinois. And that was kind of chalky. I've got upsets in the first weekend, but outside of that, it gets a little more tricky. And then I had Illinois final playing Gonzaga, and then I've Gonzaga winning it all. I think they're going to be the first team since Indiana in 1976 to rip through a season undefeated. We almost had it in 2015. Kentucky, they were 30-0 going into the Final Four before they lost to Wisconsin. But I think Gonzaga is going to pull off this year. They've got a draw, and they've got a vibe, and they've got 2 lottery picks that are leading the way, and they've got other really good players that are star caliber, just really good players, star caliber players, the real thing.
So, Jay, you've been critical and about some of the way that you think that college basketball should restructure the way it does its business. What do you think some of the biggest problems right now with college basketball?
Oh, the first is on court. The church block call has got to change. And I'm talking about when a secondary defender comes over to slide in front of a driver that has won his path to the basket. And if it's a primary defender that's got lead guarding position moving to contain it, man, that's charge we should celebrate. But sliding under, no way. We got to fix that thing. And referees that say it's a 50-50 call, if it's a 50-50 call, it is a block. And it is beyond a reasonable doubt, it is a charge. And we need to pay the players. Allow them to be paid just like everybody else. Every student gets to make whatever they can in the marketplace. Natalie Portman went to Ivy League school, and she's acting, making a bunch of money. My daughter made money as an artist. I don't see why Luka Garza can't make a few bucks. It's ridiculous.
Exciting. I cannot wait to Google your daughter's art. I'm going to purchase something. I'm going to show you on Etsy or something, buy something, and put it up on the wall here in the studio. Thank you so much for taking the time. Of course, I know you have a lot of work to do, and as always, you get to work. Thank you so much, Jay.
Got to go to baby. Thanks. You need to get Jeezy on your wall, too.
Oh, there. Heineken River Deck here in Piantine in New York City. Welcome back to Jalen Jacoby. Jalen, Tom Gores did something amazing. What was that?
I'm extremely grateful to Tom Gores, his wife, Holly, Platinum Equity family, and the Detroit Pistons. They stepped up, Jacoby, and they donated $1 million to JRLA.
Wow.
We're an open enrollment, tuition-free public charter high school. Get zero state for our facility, and we are a nonprofit. This is the actual charity that makes it a hood. And I know it's not prestige like giving it to a college or a university. And I noticed it didn't make headlines across the newspaper or it didn't show up at the bottom of the ticker. But this is the actual charity work that makes it to hood. And since 2011, I continue motivated to not only service my community, but give in every way possible. Thank you very much, G. I love you, brother.
If you want to help, go to JRLA.